In our previous video, we discussed how BRICS has the potential to revolutionize the world of money and pose a challenge to the Western giants, the G7. The idea of a new currency model based on gold has been causing quite a stir and giving nightmares to the G7 countries. However, this week, we have even more exciting news about BRICS that could change the global landscape. Did you know that a whopping 41 nations are ready to adopt the BRICS currency? That's right, the influence of BRICS is expanding rapidly, and it has already surpassed the G7 in terms of world GDP. This is a clear sign that the balance of economic power is shifting. But wait, there's more. In another astonishing development, it seems that Mexico, a longtime partner of the USA and Canada through the North American Free Trade Agreement, may no longer have a pact with its northern neighbors. This news adds another layer of complexity to the changing dynamics of global alliances. Meanwhile, the BRICS Bank is looking to expand its membership, and one of the biggest players in the oil industry, Saudi Arabia, is considering joining the alliance. This could potentially catapult BRICS into a whole new league. The overall power balance in the world could be reshaped. In today's video, we will discuss the brief history of BRICS. We will expound on whether BRICS could emerge as a politico-economic bloc that could challenge the West, and we will recommend what the West can do. But before that, we would like you to subscribe to the channel. The BRICS acronym initially emerged as a term to describe the world's fastest-growing economies. It represented Brazil, Russia, India, and China, coined by Jim O'Neill, the chief economist of Goldman Sachs, back in 2001. At that time, these four countries showcased sustained high economic growth rates, and the BRIC label symbolized optimism about their future prospects. However, critics argued that the countries were too diverse to be grouped together and dismissed it as a marketing strategy by Goldman Sachs. Nevertheless, what started as a marketing ploy eventually evolved into a platform for intergovernmental cooperation akin to the G7. The first BRICS summit took place in Yekaterinburg, Russia, in 2009, where the four nations came together to discuss common issues. In 2010, South Africa was invited to join the group, expanding the acronym to BRICS. Today, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are striving to establish themselves as an alternative to existing international financial and political forums. They seek to position themselves as representatives of the global South, offering an alternative model to the G7. But can this bloc outshine the West? And here's the catch. According to Gunther Mayhold, the deputy director of the German Institute for International and Security Affairs, the BRICS countries are experiencing their geopolitical moment and are positioning themselves as an alternative model to the G7. This suggests that BRICS could potentially outshine the dominance of the West. Let's explore the reasons behind this possibility. Firstly, the West has faced challenges in establishing itself as a global leader, as evidenced during the COVID-19 pandemic. The response to the crisis highlighted the limitations and divisions within the Western powers, which created opportunities for emerging economies like those in the BRICS bloc to step up and demonstrate their resilience. Secondly, the shocks of Brexit and the rise of populism, as seen with the election of Donald Trump, have unsettled the Western powers. These events have created uncertainty and economic struggles within Western economies, leading to a loss of reliance and confidence in their leadership. In contrast, countries like China and Russia have played their cards smartly. They have collaborated, particularly through China's Belt and Road Initiative, which has enhanced their influence and economic prowess on a global scale. Furthermore, the BRICS alliance has successfully brought India into its fold, despite India being a traditional ally of the United States. India, known for prioritizing its economic interests, has recognized the advantages of aligning with the BRICS nations while maintaining its relationship with Russia, an old ally. This strategic move adds significant weight to the BRICS bloc. Moreover, BRICS is not merely an economic alliance but also a political platform. Recently, they held a BRICS Foreign Ministers Summit headed by China, where they discussed various political issues, including the Middle East and China's security initiatives for resolving global problems. These discussions demonstrate the growing political influence of the BRICS nations and their aspirations to address global challenges. While some may argue that China's double standards are evident in issues such as Ukraine, where they have conflicting positions, the fact that such discussions take place within the BRICS framework indicates a shifting global dynamic. It suggests that the West is losing its monopoly on setting the agenda and resolving global conflicts. But that's not all the bloc is talking about expansion. The expansion of the BRICS bloc could be the final nail in the coffin of Western dominance. The BRICS Bank, which was established to foster economic cooperation among its founding members, is now open to new participants. In 2021, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Uruguay, and Bangladesh became shareholders in the bank, although their investments were significantly lower compared to the founding members' contributions of $10 billion each. The interest in joining the BRICS group is substantial and widespread. South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor has emphasized the huge interest from countries worldwide. She revealed that she had received 12 letters of interest from interested nations, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Algeria, Argentina, Mexico, and Nigeria. To determine new membership, the BRICS bloc is in the process of shaping criteria for lending. The decision-making process will take place during the upcoming August summit in South Africa, where this topic will be on the agenda. The potential expansion of the bloc with influential countries like Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Nigeria would significantly enhance its power and influence on the global stage. It is noteworthy that the recent economic developments within the BRICS member states have deviated from the initial myths upon which the group was founded. Among the 5 members, only China has achieved sustained and extensive economic growth since then. China's GDP has skyrocketed from $6 trillion in 2010 to nearly $18 trillion in 2021. In contrast, the economies of Brazil, South Africa, and Russia have experienced stagnation, while India's GDP has grown from $1.7 trillion to $3.1 trillion, but has been outpaced by China's remarkable growth. These divergent economic trajectories within the BRICS bloc indicate that China has emerged as the dominant economic powerhouse, overshadowing the other members. As the BRICS bloc continues to evolve and expand, it presents a formidable challenge to traditional Western dominance in global affairs. The shifting dynamics within the group, coupled with the potential inclusion of influential countries, suggests that the balance of power is tilting away from the West. One notable challenge that highlights the divergence between the BRICS bloc and the West is their stance on the Russian war in Ukraine and the subsequent sanctions imposed against Russia. The BRICS countries, including India, Brazil, South Africa, and China, have distanced themselves from the West by not participating in these sanctions. This divergence has become evident through various indicators. For instance, the trade between India and Russia has reached near historic levels, highlighting their deepening economic ties. Brazil's reliance on Russian fertilizer further emphasizes the economic interdependence between these nations. From a diplomatic perspective, the war in Ukraine has created a clear dividing line between Russia backed by Eastern nations and the Western powers. The BRICS countries have chosen not to align themselves with the West's approach of imposing sanctions on Russia. But is it game over for the West? What can they do? We would once again like you to subscribe to the channel. While the BRICS bloc appears to have gained momentum, it is not all over for the West. There are potential solutions that the West, particularly the United States under President Biden's leadership, could undertake to galvanize and regain its position as a global leader. Firstly, President Biden could propose a comprehensive global economic package aimed at stabilizing struggling Western economies, including countries like the United Kingdom and France. This package would provide much-needed support and resources to revive their economies and address the challenges they currently face. By taking proactive measures to bolster Western economies, the United States can demonstrate its commitment to global stability and economic cooperation. Secondly, the West must reassess its approach towards China. Rather than isolating or conceptualizing China as a rival, the West could explore practical avenues for including China within the global economic and political systems. Engaging in constructive dialogue and collaboration with China would enable the West to harness the immense potential for cooperation and shared prosperity. By embracing China as a partner rather than treating it as an adversary, the West can foster a more balanced and inclusive global order. Looking ahead, the rivalry between the BRICS bloc and the G7, or more specifically, the United States and China, will undoubtedly shape global dynamics in the coming years. It will be a fascinating period to observe how the interactions and dynamics unfold between these competing forces and how the West responds to the rise of the BRICS nations, particularly China. If you like the video, do subscribe to the channel for more updates.